Hi folks, welcome to your next spreadsheet tutorial with Mark Alderson. Basically, I'm going to get you to create a new spreadsheet today, and we're going to build it up a bit at a time, entering figures, doing some small sums and totals, mostly formatting it and getting it ready for the tutorial that I'm going to create after this one, which will be on the creation of charts. Different ways we can look at data and represent it in chart format. So what I've got here, you can pause the video here and recreate this on a brand new blank Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. I have Glasgow Fruit Market stock figures. So it's going to be a data sheet of figures for sales of fruits in the Glasgow Fruit Market. It's going to be separated into 4 quarters. So we've got the first quarter here, a quarter being 3 months of the year. So the first quarter is January, February, March. The second quarter will be April, May, June. You get the idea. We'll build it up from there. So far, all I have done is I have created this small table. I want you to do the same. These headings here, if you look at them, they are bold and underlined. Now, bold and underlined, the control button with B is bold. You can turn it off and on like I'm doing now. And U is underlined. So holding the control key, I'm tapping U, just like a light switch. I can put it on and off. And you'll see the icon up here going off and on as I do that. And the same with B for bold. So they are bold and underlined. And they've also got a fill color, which is this little paint bucket here. Choose any color you like. Something, if you've got dark letters, a dark font, you want a light color. So any color you choose. This Glasgow Fruit Market stock figures heading that I've made big, it's in cell A1. If I click on A1, you'll see it here. If I was to widen the cell, you would see that it's all in cell A1. Yeah, take that back. I went in between the 2 column headings there. You'll see the cursor changing to 2 arrows pointing left and right. That allows you to resize headings. I think I went over that in an earlier video. So I've put the months in. I've not made them bold, but I think I will. Yeah. And I've given them a colour too. I've put a total in here for the total of each of the fruits for the first quarter. So in here will be the total figures for January, February, March, and the same for bananas, oranges, kiwi, pears. At this side, I'm going to have a total figure for all fruits for January, and in here, all fruits for February. So I've got 2 sets of totals here. This side is going to give me a total for all fruits by month, because it's going to be January for apples, bananas, oranges, kiwi, pears, grapes, peaches, and nectarines. That was a mouthful. And at the bottom, it's the totals for the first quarter by each fruit. This will be the total for apples, bananas, and oranges, etc. In here, this cell, I'm going to have a total for the whole quarter, which will be the sum of all the cells. It's also the sum of these or the sum of these. I can get this figure here, although there's not a figure there just now, but when the numbers go in, this here can be tallied up by summing up these, or these, or these. It will all be the same number. So this heading is in cell A1. I want the heading to be centered across the area of the table that I'm creating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that to here, and I'm going to click this icon up here that says merge and center, merges and centers, and I'm going to give it a background. I don't know, yellow and black stands out, quite contrasting colours. So I would say this is me designed this. Well, this total here and this total here look different. You see, one's underlined, one's bold. So I'm going to click, and then I can hold down the control key and I can select another one. With the control key, you can select as many cells as you like, see? But I only need that one, and without the control key, then I'm going to hold the control key to press the second one. Never hold the control key down to select the first range or select the cell. It's always from the second one onwards. It may not come into play now, but when we do charts, that will come into play. The selection of data is quite important in charts, but I'll cover that in the next video. So this is the start. We've got our heading merged and centered. We've given it a background color. And these 2 fonts up here, the big A and the little a, I mean, you can make it as big as you like. That's me playing with the heading. See what I did there? I was actually still selected both these totals when I was selecting the bigger font, increased font size. So I don't want that to be big. So I'm just going to quickly Control Z, which is undo. This button up here, undo font size. It's telling you, undo can go back about 10 steps, but I'm just going to use Control Z. If you look, it says undo, and next to it, it says Control Z. That's a quick key. So Control Z takes it back one, and again, and that says back to where we were. And I also forgot to make them both bold and underlined. There we go. Right, now, the main heading, like I was saying, this icon makes it bigger, and this icon next to it makes it smaller. It's up to you how big you make it. Just don't make it ludicrous. Size 75 font or something. So I would say this is the first quarter complete. So we are going to do quarters 2, 3, and 4. Now watch. I showed you in one of the other videos that I can drag things and move them and copy them. If I wanted to copy this word total, I can just hold down the Control key. With it selected, click to select it. And then if I hold down the Control key and go to the edge, you'll see a little plus sign up here. I can take a copy of that and I can put it anywhere I like. Let me Control Z to undo that. I want a copy of this. The headings is only going to be one heading at the top of this, but I'm going to just copy this down, and the only thing that's going to change it's going to change to second quarter, and the months are going to change. Watch. So I'm going to scroll down a wee bit. I'll leave 2 rows between each. I'm holding down the Control key because I've already selected it. So my first selection, no Control key to select that. Now I'm holding down the Control key and I go to the edge. Look, I can go to any edge, anywhere apart from the bottom right-hand corner where you get a thin cross. I don't want that. But any edge, I can take that, drag it down, and you can see I'm going to miss out 2 rows. Just let it go. Now I've got 2 copies of the same thing. These months, January, February, March. So the first one is going to be April. And I'm going to use autofill now. Watch for the month. Click on April. And if I go to the bottom right-hand corner and get the thin cross, autofill, I can drag that down and get April, May, June. It knows. And in here, I'm just going to change that number 1. Just going to click up there to a number. That's not a number 2. It's second. It's 2MD. Second. Right. What I did there, guys, look, I clicked in that cell, and then I clicked up in the address bar to change it. Let me show you another way of changing it. If I click on the cell, and then at the top of your keyboard, you've got keys F1, F2, F3, etc. If I hit F2, I can edit inside the cell. Now, look, I've got the insertion point that I can now move about in the cell, and I could change that if I wanted, although I don't want to now, and then just press return when you're finished. So yeah, I can click on it, and I can go up the top, click in here and edit it, or I can click on it, press the F2 key, and that allows me to edit it in the cell. Yeah, 2 ways of doing that. So obviously, I've done first quarter, and then I drag down a copy to do second quarter, and obviously I can take down another copy to do third quarter, and I could edit that. But to save me doing all these steps, you're going to do those steps, but me, I've got one ready and waiting. Yeah, there's a couple of wee changes. I created this earlier, so I've not made my totals and these bold and underlined, so I'm just going to sort that now. I'm going to select all these headings. I'm holding down the Control key after the first one. Just single clicking and clicking and dragging. And I'm going to make them underlined. I'm putting it off and on because the ones that were underlined, when I click that, it takes underline off. So now I'm going to click it again to make sure it underlines everything. And again, some of them are bold and some of them aren't. So when I click bold the first time, the ones that aren't are going to turn off, and the ones that are turning on. But if you do it twice, it sets everything the same. It's kind of hard to explain that, but yeah, when things are not consistent with each other, click the button twice for underline, bold, or italicized. It's a good habit to do it twice anyway. That way you're always going to be rest assured. So look, guys, what we've got is we've got the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter with the months in. And at the bottom, I've got a grand total of all stock. Yeah. I don't know why this cell's highlighted there. See that? It's got a border around it. I don't want that. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to borders and select no border, which may take the back end off this one. So I guess just quickly going to select all borders for these ones. There we go. Just a quick fix. Right, so you're at the situation now where you've got the template laid out, ready to put the figures in. There's a couple of wee problems with borders here. I'm seeing there's bits here in the middle that have borders. So I'm going to section each of these quarters off with a thick box just to make them stand out a bit. So from the first quarter to there, I'm going to go in here and select thick outside borders. And if you look, now this whole section, it looks like a little table, and that table is quarter one. I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to do the same with the second, third, and fourth quarter. But I'm not going to do it just like I did there by highlighting one and then do another one, click, another one, click, watch. I'll leave the first one alone. I'm going to select the second table. I'm going to scroll down, hold down the control. Now that one I selected, no control key. Now I'm holding the control key and I'm going to do the third. I've let everything go and I'm scrolling with the rolly wheel. These will stay selected. I can scroll up and down with this bar here at the side. I just use the rolly wheel on the mouse to roll. Control key back on and select this. Now I've got these selected as separate tables, and I notice I've got one row here and two here. I'll sort that in a minute and just click on thick box borders, outside border should be there already. I don't have to do the drop down. It's the highlighted one, which is the last one you use. So I can just click it. And now you'll see I've got a table around each of my quarters, 1, 2, 3, and 4. One looked bold and one didn't there, but it is. I was just checking. Right. We're ready now to put in figures nearly, apart from, if you look, I've got 2 rows in between the first and second quarter, 2 rows in between the second and third, and 1 row between the third and fourth. Now, it makes no difference apart from how it looks, but it's nice to make it uniform. See the numbers down the left-hand side, the row numbers. I can click, if I move over a row number, you'll see it changing to a little arrow. If I click that arrow with the left mouse button, it selects the whole row from here to as far as it goes, miles. I can now right click on that. Oh, my mouse is playing up. I can now right click on that and I can just choose insert. Now how that worked is, because I only had 1 row selected, it only inserted 1 row. Watch, let me delete that. I can click that row and I can also choose delete to take a row back out. Watch this. That's the row that I want to put the space in. I'm going to drag down 3 or 4 rows. So I've highlighted 4. Watch, if I right click now and choose insert, it inserts 4 rows. Yeah. Now I want to take 3 of these away. That's just demoing how you can insert and delete rows whenever you feel like it. You can do the same with columns as well, by the way, up the top. So I'm just going to select 3, which leaves 2, which is what I'm wanting. I'm going to right click and choose delete. So now I've got 2 column spacing between each of my tables. You'll do that a lot quicker because you're not explaining things, you're just going to do it. Now, the last part of this exercise is putting the figures in. Now, pause the video here and put the figures in for the first and second quarter. Then, pause the video here and put the figures in for the third and the fourth quarter. Yeah? Right, I take it you've got all these figures in now and you've unpaused the video. So very quickly, I'm going to show you a couple of ways of summing up. I know we covered this stuff in the last tutorial you've done, but it's good exercise to have a look. So there's a few ways I can do this. Let me show you. The first way is the old-fashioned way, equals sum, open bracket. Like I showed you in the last video, use every function the same way, equals, function name, and open a bracket. For sum, it just wants data. So I'm just going to highlight apples for January, February, March. No text, I've just highlighted the currency data, the money. I'm not even going to put the bracket on the end of this formula. Excel knows I'm finished if I press return. 27.5 grand. So a lot of apples being sold in the first quarter. I can now carry this over. It knows the formula here is the sum of B4 to B6. If I drag this over, Excel knows and it'll increment C4 to C6, D4 to D6, etc. Bottom right hand corner, thin cross, you'll see there it's there. Drag over. Yeah, it does it. Right, that's one way. Another way, let me take that data out, is click where you want the answer to appear, and this icon on the home tab up here. Now make sure you're on the home tab. This one, sum. It's auto sum, this icon. So I click it and it has a guess. Now it's guessing these 4 cells. I don't want 4 cells, I only want 3. So make sure you highlight 3 cells, just the data that you want to sum and no more. when I highlighted that data, it's the thick cross I've got. Watch, I went right in the middle of the first one and then I dragged down. Don't go to the edge or anything like that because you'll drag the data away and it just becomes a bit of a pig's ear. Always start right in the middle of the first cell with a thick white cross and drag down. Show you that again. I kind of done it automatically itself there. So start where you want the answer to come in, click auto sum, highlight the data and only the data, press enter. Then you can take it over. All good. Now I'm going to do the same here. These are the totals for each fruit for the first quarter. So that's the total for apples for January, February, March, bananas, oranges, kiwi, etc. This time at this side, I'm going to tally them up for January. So it's going to be all the products for January that figure is going to be in here. So again, I'm starting off where I want the answer to appear. Auto sum. Again, auto sum's having a guess, and it's guessing that it wants to tally up this cell here as well. That may be used for something else later on. So never ever go with the first guess that auto sum has. Always highlight the data that you want. Press enter. Show you again. Where do you want the answer to appear? Click on it, then click on auto sum. It's having a guess, but it's putting extra cells in. Now look, I always start right in the middle of the cell that I want to start the selection from. Then click. Now, you can move this about all over the place. And if your mouse is quite fidgety, do not let go of the mouse button until you're happy it's selected the data you want. Then let go of the mouse button. Press return. Now, let's say that you weren't clicked where you wanted the answer to be. Let's say I was in that cell and I went auto sum. Auto sum's not guessing at anything because there's no figures next to it. But I said to it, I want this. And I press return. I now get this figure here. Look, I showed you earlier on, it's easy to move stuff. I can just go to the edge of that cell, grab it, put it in there where it's meant to be. Right, there's one last way of doing this, which is really easy. Watch. Let me delete these. I'm going to highlight the data that I want to tally up, and I'm going to leave a space for some numbers. Now, this space here is where I want the totals for each fruit to appear, like the ones below. I'm just going to drag it down in a minute. And this space here is going to be the totals horizontally for January, February, March. Because I've left the gap, watch, if I just click auto sum, all the answers come in. Now, these hash symbols are only here because the column isn't wide enough to show the data. Look, just drag the column out a wee bit and there it's there. So I've got everything I need here. Look, these are the three totals for January, February, March. I can just put them in. These are the totals for each fruit. I can just drag them down to where they're meant to be. And this is the total for everything. How's that? So basically, highlighting and leaving a space for the numbers. Let me show you that again. So I highlighted the block of data that I wanted to tally up three different ways. I want horizontal, I want vertical, and I want the grand total for a whole quarter in that cell. And all I did was click auto sum and it puts it all in for me. Well, once I widen the column a wee bit. And then all I did was move them, highlighted them without the control key, then held the control key down, went to the edge to get that plus sign, dragged it. Same here. Oh, you see what I did there? I made a copy. That was my mistake. Control Z, that. I don't want to hold the control key down. I just want to drag it without the control key. I apologise. This one, same, highlight it, go to the edge till I get a crosshair. Same with that one. Right. I also said to you earlier that this figure here, the 140,000, can be got three ways. It can be the total of these three. It can be the total of these three, or these three. These 1, 2, 3, 4, these 8, or it can be the total of the whole block of data. Let me prove that. I'm going to do that calculation 3 times. I'll just do it here. So in this one, I'll tally up these three. So auto sum, these three, 140,000. And this one, I'll auto sum these totals, 140,000. And this one, I'll auto sum the block of data that we got the answers from, 140,000. So that figure can be got in 3 ways. Yeah. These tallied up are just a total of all that data. And these tallied up are just a total of all that data as well. So how you get it, it doesn't matter. Just auto sum is going to, I'll just use these 3. Yeah. What I want you guys to do is go down and do all the totals. Watch now. I'm going to do it quickly. The way I like to do it is just in this. This isn't always a situation where you can get into a table and do this, but if you can, I find this easier just to do everything and then just move it to where you like. In class, I'll do it in the last one. When you're learning this stuff, you should actually do it like, do the first one here, AutoSum, to get into the habit of using AutoSum, enter, and then click back on it and use autofill to take it over. That is the kind of correct way of doing things. And this one, click where I want the answer to be, click on AutoSum, make sure I'm right in the middle of the cell and highlight only the data that I want, press return, then click back on it, and then use autofill bottom right hand corner, thin cross, take that down. This one is just the AutoSum of any of them, like I showed you a minute ago. I'll just choose these three here. So do it any way you feel most comfortable with. Maybe doing it the way I just showed you there, one at a time, and drag it over to get a bit of practice. But if you feel cool with that, then, like I say, highlight the data. Now, I've not highlighted any text, just all numerical data. Leave a space for the answers, AutoSum, and just move them into place. To me, that's the quickest way of completing a table of spreadsheet data. Right. This figure here, the grand total of all stock, can be got in many ways, but the easiest way is adding up the 4 quarter totals. That one, plus that one, plus that one, plus that one. Now see the way that I showed you that, watch, in here is equal to, and I'm scrolling up, and I know the formula is showing me up here, it's still up there, I'm going to say it's equal to that one, and you'll see it getting added, K16, then I hit plus, and it's that one, and you see the formula building up here, plus that one, plus, I've only done 3, why have I only done 3? Oh, the first one, that one, the order of them, doesn't matter. But yeah, quick way, if you're only tallying or adding cells together, it's just a matter, I'll do that again. It equals quarter 1 total plus quarter 2 total plus quarter 3 total plus quarter 4 total. Enter. And if you look down here, K8 plus K16 plus K24 plus K31, enter, nearly 500,000's worth of stock, so 440,000. Right, I'm going to stop you there. Once you get to this situation, I'm going to use this spreadsheet for showing you how to look at data graphically, creating different sorts of charts, analysing data using charts. So I'll leave that for the next video. When you're finished with this, you're going to have a spreadsheet. I want you to save this as Glasgow Fruit Market, and I want you to put it in the Mark Alderson exercise Dropbox. I'll show you if the page would load up. Here, Mark Alderson exercise Dropbox on the UIT page. So you should have a spreadsheet called Glasgow Fruit Market stock figures, or sorry, Glasgow Fruit Market. Save it into the Dropbox that I just showed you, the exercise one, not the assessment. Cheers, folks, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.